Hello, I hope I am audible and screen is also visible. Give me one more minute, we'll start. Thank you, Vikas, for confirming. Okay, we will start today's session. Uh, so, thank you for joining once again. Yesterday, we have learned what is derivative, what is variable, how to get data using a derivative, and the other part is while working with the variable, how to declare the variables, how to assign values to variables, and how to pass a particular variable in a select statement. You can use variable based delete as well as update or any other stuff you like. You can use that variable and you can perform other DDL or DML statements. So today we will learn most important topic, and it is without this topic the interview will not be end. Okay, so that is store procedure. So basically, what is store procedure? Store procedure is nothing but it's a SQL statements. Okay, it can contain a one SQL statement, that is it can contain DDML as well as a DDL as well as DML SQL statements, as well other like DCL, TCL statements, and where we use the store procedures. For example, if I want to execute the code, or if I want to rewrite the code again and again, okay. So if I, for example, if I want get the employee information on daily basis, or if I want to share a report to my manager or a business users on daily basis, so I will not I can write the SQL statement, I can give it, but every day if I am writing, then it's a wastage of time, right? So to save the time, we should go with the store procedure. Apart from that, whenever you write a store procedure and you execute that store procedure, SQL stores the execution plan of a store procedure in their cache, so that if you are executing the same store procedure next time, what it will does, it will get that plan and it will execute your query. So that what will happen, it will provide you it will provide the result faster. Okay, so that's the other part of the store procedure. And okay, apart from that, you can like use multiple store procedures, like you can use a store procedure within store procedure, as well as just 1 minute. Okay, it's coming. Okay, and you can pass parameters to a store procedure. You can pass input parameters as well as you can get the results from a store procedure. Okay, and then so there are two types of the store procedure. One is the system s- system defined store procedure, other is user defined store procedure. So system defined store procedure, for example, sp underscore help text, then if you want to check few other details pertaining to the system, okay, we can use that store procedure. I will show you what are the different store procedure. System defined store procedure already exist in SQL Server. The other is user defined store procedure. So the user defined store procedure are the store procedure which are me or you or any developer will create. And then as I mentioned, like we can use a we can modify the store procedure also. If you have created a store procedure and tomorrow if you want to additional data, okay, additional fields, or if you want to remove a few things from a store procedure, you can do that. Basically, store procedure are reduce the network usage between the clients and server, that the IO message, okay. You can use set no count on, so that it will not print how many number of rows are affected, and by using that you can reduce the traffic. Just 1 minute, okay. So let and then let me show you the syntax of the store procedure. So the syntax of the store procedure is create, then this is the optional part, okay. If you want to modify, then use alter. As you know that these create and alter are the DDL statements in SQL Server. You can use a proc or procedure keyword to create a store procedure, then the schema name, then procedure name, and post that you can use a parameter, this and the data type of the parameter, and you can specify a default value to a store procedure, or even you can pass out or output parameter and read only uh, data type, or the parameter type. So what is this in? In is a default parameter. If you are creating a store procedure and if you are not assigning or specifying any keyword, okay, a parameter type, then by default this parameter SQL will treat that parameter as a input parameter. So and out parameter is that if you want to get certain results from a store procedure, okay, then we will use a out parameter, and in out this is the parameter. It will work both operation, okay. It will uh, it will take the input and it will again send the output to us. So to execute a store procedure, we can use a exe keyword and then procedure name, and if the store procedure has a parameter, we can pass the list of that particular parameters to store procedure. Let me go on a SQL Server and I will explain you. Okay. So there are two ways to create a store procedure. How can you go to a store procedure? So one way is using SSMS GUI. So go to a particular database. Now what I will do, I will create a store procedure inside this TSQL database. Now to go to a store procedure, go to this programmability folder, and inside that there is a folder store procedure. So from here you can create a new store procedure, or and then like it will provide you the syntax, and you can provide the author who has created the who is creating the store procedure, okay. For example, data, and then the creation date, so today's date. These are like standard practice. It is not required to specify the details. Okay, so what I will do, I will write a store procedure, simple store procedure, which will provide me the employee details. Okay, so how can I write store procedure? So now like create store procedure and then the procedure name. Okay, so what like So there are standard ways to provide a store procedure name. One is the like you can give any way, any name like get, then emp details. Okay, you can provide this, but this is the user defined store procedure. So I will write USP, meaning that user defined store procedure, and then underscore and this store procedure name. Now I will not pass any parameter to this store procedure. I will explain what is this set no count on. These are the comments, okay. SQL Server, basically these comments are provided if I mean to get more information about the store procedure. What are you doing here? Basically what the store procedure does. Okay. Now what I will do, I want the employee details, right? So we have employee details in our HR schema, that is HR, then employees are a table. Okay, and now I want all the tables, so let me all the fields, sorry. Now what are the different columns? I want all these columns. Okay, so or for example if I want a particular few columns, then in that case I can specify the column names also. empid, then I want last name, first name, then again I want this last name. Let me pull then the birth date, the title, and his city, as well as I want the hire date. Okay, and if I want a postal code, let me take the postal code. So basically I can specify as many columns I want to specify. Or otherwise I can take all the columns from here itself. We put the all column names here. And to create a store procedure, like I have given the details here. Okay, so this is the store procedure. You can ignore this upper part. So to create a store procedure, the syntax is create store procedure, or you can write proc. Then the procedure name, parameters are optional, so I'm not writing any parameters here. Now what I want like then as keyword begin and end is a block. Okay, you can write it or you can cannot write it. It's up to you. Then set no count. Let me first remove this say no count on, and I have specified one table HR employees and the list of the columns. Let me execute. To create a store procedure, just select the store procedure or the whole bunch of the code, line of the codes, or just click on the execute. Prior to that, let me show you. There is no store procedure here, right? There is no store procedure here. So basically, it will create an object. It's similar like how we create a table, right? So basically, it will create a object called this store procedure object called USP get employee details. Let me execute this one. So I will refresh it. Now see, this is created. Okay. Now, if I want to execute a store procedure, I can execute the store procedure from here also. Just execute store procedure. Click here and then click on OK. So, to execute the store procedure, this is the way you can like see. I'm getting all. There are 9 employees. Okay. So, if you check here in the table, okay, you can execute this table also. This query also, there are 9 employees and I'm getting the 9 employees. Okay, So this is the store procedure. To execute the store procedure through GUI, just click on this execute procedure and you will get these details. Otherwise, you can execute the store procedure, just write the store procedure name and then select the store procedure and click on the execute. Still you are getting the result. So the other way is just write exe keyword and then put this store procedure name and execute the store procedure. So this is the simple store procedure. Okay, I'm not passing any input parameters to the store procedure. It is a simple store procedure. Now what if I want to modify the store procedure? I want the age of these employees. Okay, so to alter the store procedure, just right click and click on modify. Okay, so you will get the code. Otherwise, the other alternative is you you will get, you know that there is a code, right? We have the code. So from here also you can use the alter keyword, alter procedure name. Okay, so here what I will do, I will alter this store procedure. So alter means it will modify. Now what I want age of the employee. So to get the age of employee, what in year, we'll get the age of employee in year. So to get the age, we have a date dip function, right? So date dip function basically takes interval. We want year, age in year. So and then date of birth, right? And get date. So we want the age of employee as of now, and you can put as age. So this date function basically do a calculation. Basically it will minus the birth date from this today's date, and then it will provide how many years he has completed, that particular employee has completed. Okay, and I am giving the ls because this is a function, this is a derived column and it is not exist in this table, so will not get a name. So we are giving a readable name. Let me execute the store procedure, or let me alter the store procedure first. So you have altered the store procedure. Now I will execute the store procedure. The earlier result is there is no age after this birth date field. Now let me execute the store procedure. To execute the store procedure, write exe, then usp underscore get employee details. You can copy and paste here. That is same store procedure here also. See, now I am getting the age. So if you do the calculation, this Sarah is CEO of the organization or company, and her age is 64 age. So you can write other functions also, or if you want, you can like even use the store procedure to delete the records and all. Let me show another example of a store procedure. Now what we can do, we will create a input store procedure, which input parameter store procedure. So you know that now, like what I want a manager of a particular employee, manager ID of a particular employee. Okay, so how can I get uh, or I want employee details of a particular employee ID by passing the employee ID. So to get that, what I want I don't want all the details, all employee details. I want employee details of a particular employee. Then to get that, how we'll write a statement where employee ID equals to 1. In this case, I will get the details of this particular employee, right? Now, what I don't want to hard code this value 1. I want this to be a dynamic. So by using variable, how can we achieve? Declare at the rate emp id int then equals to 1, and we will pass this emp id here in the where clause. So we'll execute this one. Now you are getting the employee ID once detail. If I pass 9, then I will get all details of employee ID 9. Now I want this to be in part of the store procedure. Okay, so how can we write a store procedure? So to write a store procedure, the syntax is create proc or procedure. Now I will use a proc keyword instead of the procedure, and get vsp underscore get emp details. Okay, and I will like there is already a store procedure. Okay, so I can't use the same store procedure name. So now I am creating a parameter. So create a parameter. You can create a parameter post this store procedure name. So I am having already this name. So to distinguish between store procedure to store procedure, I will write underscore 2. You cannot create more than two procedures or more than one store procedure with same name. So here I will remove this one, and then I will not write again as an begin and end, and I will show you it will work. And now if I want to execute the store procedure, so this is the input parameter. Okay, if I'm not passing anything here, so this store procedure is considered as a input store procedure. And now I want to execute the store procedure. Now I have to pass the value to this particular variable. So how can I do that? Take this store procedure, come here, and you can use 9 keyword, like 9 this is this 9 is nothing but employee ID. Okay, so this 9 will goes here in this employee ID, and that will be passed in where clause. Let me execute this way. So let's see, I'm getting employee details of 9. If I pass 5, I will get employee details of 5. So but like it is not a good practice to pass the particular parameter without a parameter name. So to pass that parameter, you can specify the parameter name also. Now here you can pass equals to 5. Now see, if you have like multiple parameters, right, then you can use this uh, parameter name and you can pass this one. Even you can use a execute keyword. So this is the one way. The other way is from here also you can execute the store procedure. Now, oh, let me refresh it. This is our latest store procedure. To execute a store procedure, we have a parameter. Okay. Now you can pass null value, or if you want to pass a null value, you can use. But in our case, I want to pass a 6. So just click OK. Now I will get the details of this employee ID 6. Okay, this is an input parameter example of the input store procedure parameter store procedure. Now let me show you one more thing. Okay, now if you say at here, right, I'm getting two messages, that one row affected, one row affected. So it is basically it calls an IO, like SQL Server has to write these rows or displays to these rows that needs at least few memories. Okay, so to avoid that, to remove that burden, we will use a set no count on statement, so that this statement will reduce the IO burden, and I will put begin and end as a block. It is not required at all, but it's a good practice to put it. If you have multiple statement, then begin and end is required. Now I have already the store procedure. I will alter the store procedure. You can see earlier I was getting two rows affected, right? Now let me execute this one. Oh, sorry. Let me alter the store procedure first. And I want to execute the store procedure. See, now I am getting only one. If I put this no count, because why I'm getting for this row I'm getting, okay. If I remove this one, it is not required at all. Now if I execute this one, I will not get any message here, okay. I'm just getting a simple commands completed successfully message. Now what if I want to get a particular message on a screen, okay, or if I want to use output parameter, how can I use? I will show you. So to return the data from a store procedure, we can use out parameter. Let me show you one example to you. For example, if I want to return a manager ID of a particular employee, then how can I get the manager ID in output parameter? I will show you that part now. We'll create one more store procedure. Create procedure name, then these three or out with, can mention with out param, that is the with out parameter. And now I want a manager ID to be returned, right? So I'm not interested the all details of this. I just want a manager ID of a particular employee. Mm, so what is the builder name? MGR ID. Okay. So here I will write one more store parameter, that is MGR ID. Okay. And MGR, or I can write MANA manager underscore ID, then data type and out keyword, because I want that to be displayed. Okay. So, and post that, what I will do, I will assign the value to this particular parameter. So to assign the value to this parameter, we'll use this equals to statement. So whatever value we'll get from, like if you pass 9, then we will get a manager of that employee ID 9. Let me create the store procedure. Okay, so we have created a store procedure with out parameter, and there are two parameters now. So this is the input parameter and this is the output parameter. Based on this input parameter, I want what is the manager ID of that employee ID. So to execute the store procedure, we can use exe keyword and then the store procedure name. Now what I want this employee ID to be passed here. So I will pass 9. Then what I want the manager ID to be displayed, right? So I will try it out here. So to get the manager ID to be displayed here, we have to write the variable name and then out keyword. And prior to that, we have to declare this one more time. So let me declare it. Int. And now let me execute here. If I execute this store procedure, I will get an error. Okay. Declare manager ID out int out. Then data type. Okay. Must pass parameter number 2 and subsequent parameters at the rate equals to value. Int. It's throwing an error. All subsequent parameters. Okay, I missed one thing. That is, I have to use this. Now let me execute this. Will not. We are not getting any output here, right? So to get that output, what I have to do? I will use, instead of the manager ID, I will declare mgr underscore to just distinguish between mgr underscore id, and I will assign the value of this output parameter to this one, and I will use this mgr id variable here. Manager id. Okay, okay. I have to declare this one also again. int. Now let me execute this one. Let's see. We are getting null result. Let's see what is the value of employee ID 9. Select star from hr.employee, where it is, employees. So there is, it seems there is no manager for this employee. uh, there it's there. Okay, the manager ID is 5. Let me check my statement. Instead of this one, I will pass this one only. Here, and let me check what is the value. Okay, now I'm getting it. Okay, I was doing a mistake. So now, like, you can clearly see from here, there is a manager ID. We have passed this employee ID 9, and it is returning the employee manager ID 5. Okay, if I pass another employee ID 5, then in that case I will get 2. Okay, so what is the employee ID, manager of employee ID 2? empid equals to 5. Employee ID, sorry, manager ID 2 is the manager ID equals to 2 is the manager of this employee ID 5. That is for this 7, right? The manager ID is 2. Now, if you miss this out keyword, then you will not get the result. So you will get the null. Okay, so keep in mind, if you are passing a output parameter, then don't miss this out keyword. So this is the output store procedure, output parameter store procedure. I will create one more store procedure. I mean, even like you can pass this manager ID, and if you want the details, okay, you can get it. Let me show you. Like here, if you write a statement, right, select star from HR dot employees where EMP ID equals to this ID. Okay, let me execute this query. See, this Don is the employee manager of this 7, right? So even you can write a multiple statements in a store procedure. Let me show you that part. You can use join also in the store procedure. You can do calculation. See, we did one calculation. Now what I want to delete a record from store procedure. Okay, so to delete a record or to update, I want to update a birth date or hire date of a particular employee. So to update that, let me create one store procedure. So to create a store procedure, create proc usp underscore update emp hire date. Okay, then as begin end to change the case from a lowercase to uppercase, just select that part and press Control Shift U, so it will go to uppercase, and if you want to do a lowercase, just press Control Shift and L. This is the shortcut. Okay. Now what I want to update hire date of a particular employee. So I will take a EMP ID as input parameter int, then update statement, update HR dot employees, set I want hire date to be updated, right? So I want hire date to be updated like to what? I want that part also. If there is any correction, okay, for example, there is an employee whose hire date is wrongly mentioned in the database. So how can you change the hire date? I will show you. So date time. Prior to that, let me check the data type of that particular field. Hire date time. Okay, no problem. This data type should be matched with the variable. I will take this hire date, and then where I want to change the hire date based on the employee ID field. So I will pass this one here. I will create the store procedure. So you created the store procedure. Now let me show you what is the hire date for employee ID 9. So the hire date for employee ID, let me use where clause also. Employee ID equals to 9. This is the hire date, right? Current hire date. Now what I want to change this hire date from 2014 to 2004, 2004 to 2014. Okay, or like if I want to change the hire day, probably he may be hired on mm 16th. Okay, and it is wrongly updated to 15, or it is wrongly updated. He has been hired on this Joya. Okay, she is hired on 14th of November 2004, but it is wrongly updated to this one. Then how can we change it? By using store procedure, I will show you. So just use this keyword, execute keyword, instead of in front of the store procedure, and then pass the parameters to store procedure. So I want to update a hire date of this Joya employee. Her employee ID is 9, so I am passing that. And now I want to change the hire date. So what I will do, I will update, I will pass value to that variable. Let me execute the three statements in one batch. Select star from. Let me copy this one. Okay, I want to update this to 14 and let me execute this. So the first statement will give the earlier value. The second statement will execute the store procedure to update the hire date, and the third statement will show me the result hire date post update. Okay, you can see earlier it was 15th November. Now it is updated to 14 November. So even if you want to update a region, see here region is null, right? In that case, if I want to update, like I can write a statement here and I can pass the region also. So or if I want to delete a particular record, so I can delete, like instead of this update. Now what I will do, I will delete a record from the table. So instead of the update, I use delete statement. Delete emp, okay. And now what I want to do, I want to delete an employee, but I want to maintain a history of that employee, okay. So to before deleting, I want to insert that record into history table. So what I will do, I will create a history table first. Maybe or maybe that employee has left the organization. Now we want to keep the history, but it should not be part of the active record. So to create a dummy table or structure of the table, we'll use this store into keyword. So by using into keyword, you can create employees history, okay. You can create another table structure. So here I will pass 1 equals to 1 1 equals to 2 in where clause, so that this condition will be false and it will not dump data into this table. Let me execute this one. Where is the problem? Okay, here is the problem. Okay, so earlier this there was no table, and now I have created table. See, you can see there is no table called employee history. So I haven't used create table statement. I just use select and then the list of the columns and use into column and the new table name. So here let me show you the table is created now, and there will be no data because if you want the data, then you can specify that particular condition, or like for example, if you want all data of a particular region, then you can specify that region. If you want all data, there is no need to specify where clause. Now what I will do, I will show you the structure of this table. Okay, so here you can see it has created this table has the similar structure as employee. You can see here. So now what I want before deleting the record, I want that record to be part of history, and let me add one more column there, alter table. To add a column, use alter table statement and then add keyword and the column name. Okay, so create CRE. created date, date time, date time is a data type, and default I want get date. Uh, if if you are not passing any value to this field, then default it should accept today's date. So I have added one more field here. Now what I want data to be inserted into this history table prior to delete the statement. So what I will do, I will use insert into this table, then select all the column names. It's always better to mention the column names instead of using a star. For example, if you have modified the table structure, if you have deleted or added one more column, then the insert statement will fail. So to avoid that, I'm using a select statement. And now I know that there is one more field, okay, in the history table, that is get date, but I'm not passing any value to that get date. And let's see. So if you are passing value to all the field, then in that case it is not required to mention the column names, but here I am not passing value to created date in history table, so I have to mention the column names. Now what I want, where select, okay, from HR dot employees where give me just 1 minute. Where emp id equals to emp id, right? So we are passing this. We will pass the employee id, and based on that employee id, we will delete a record from the employee table. And before deleting, I want that record to be part of this employee history table. So before deleting the record, I am moving that particular record to this employee history table. Let me show you now. Now what I will do, I will write one more statement, that is delete from HR dot employees. Okay. Now what I want delete the employee from this table based on where condition employee equals to emp id. Let me create the store procedure. I will explain you what I did here. So I have created, I'm going to create a store procedure called USP delete employee EMP, and it will accept one input parameter called EMP ID. And then before deleting the record from the employee table, HR.employees table, what I will do, I want the history, okay, how many employees are there, okay. You can consider this HR.employee table as it only contain active employees, where this history table will contain all the employees who has worked for the particular company or organization. Now, so I wrote this statement here, the insert into, and then from here I will pass that like particular parameter value here, and it will insert that record in this history table, and then it will delete a record. Let me execute the store procedure now. Sorry, let me create the store procedure now. What's wrong? Invalid EMPID. EMPID. Just 1 minute. It's there. It is there. Okay. Let me create now the store procedure. MPINT as begin insert into history table. Let me check first where is the problem. We'll comment out this part. Okay, here is the problem. MPID. Invalid column name MPID. Delete insert into. Okay, it was not accepting the list of the columns. Now I have created the store procedure. Okay, what I will do, I will try to delete a employee ID 9. Let me show you that employee ID first. Select star from hr.employees where emp id is equals to 9. So there is an employee in the hr employees table, and there is no employee or any record in the history table. The table name, let me get the table name. What's the table column name? Oh, I missed the column name itself here. Let me add the column name here first. The column name itself is not there. Let alter. Okay. Let me drop this table and recreate, or drop and create. Okay. Yeah. So that earlier part should work now. Actually, this employee ID column was not part of this table. That's the reason we were getting the error. Now see, we are not getting the error. Let me show you now. So there is no record. Okay. Now what I will do, I will execute this store procedure, and it will delete a record from the HR table, HR employee table. Thread EMP. It's not mandatory to pass the parameter name here, but it's good practice to pass it. I want to delete this employee. Let's see. Oh, one record affected. and there is a foreign key constraint, so I can't delete it. Let me check. Okay, okay. Constraint. Let me drop this. Delete. I can't do that. What I will do, I will create one more table instead of that, because it has a foreign and primary key relationship. Select star from HR employees to employee details. I will create one more table called HR details. Now I'm not passing any where clause, so that I will get a data as well as structure. See, 9 rows affected and there is a data now. Now what I will do, see there are 9 records. Okay, I will delete records from this table. Okay, instead of deleting from the HR employees, let me alter the store procedure prior to that. Okay, now we will execute the store procedure. So one row affected, one row is affected. Now go to the HR employee history as well as, see there will be one record. Okay, and at the end you can see today's date is appended. Okay, so this is today's date. You can say this employee's last day is today's date. Okay, and this record is deleted from details table. Let me refresh the table names. Will show you we have deleted the record from here. There will be no record where employee ID is 9. So this is all about the store procedure, and it's like you can use other stuff, like you can use more SQL statements according to your requirement. You can do the delete, update, insert, delete, merge operation, and on-fly few operations. I have demonstrated one where like we are deleting the record from a table, but I want the history of that record. So I have inserted the data into this history table prior to deleting that record. So thank you for joining. We will connect tomorrow for more details. Thank you, Sagar sir.